All right, here we go. We have Roc-A-Fella royalty in the building. Oschino finally on VladTV.
Finally on VladTV. Yeah, man. Y'all popping, man.
Hey,
it's
crazy.
It's crazy because I've been on the Breakfast Club, Text Tone, Drink Champs. Then this like the final stop. Like, you know what I mean? You got to come to VladTV. You know what I mean? So yeah, I covered all the
final
bases
boss,
now.
the final boss level right here.
Yeah.
You know
what I mean? For sure.
Well, this is your first time here. I want to start in the very beginning.
Okay.
Born and raised in North Philly.
Yes.
Now, your parents kind of had a very unique situation.
Yeah. Well,
so your dad was 20 years older than your mom.
Yeah.
Okay. How old was your dad and your mom when they had you?
Well, my mom was 20 and my dad was like 40.
Okay.
Something like that, you know what I mean? So, I mean, a big difference. Like, so my sister and my mom is like the same age.
Right, from your dad's side.
Yeah.
Okay, and your dad had how many kids?
Well, I just found the brother actually I took the DNA ancestry thing and found another brother, so like about 14, I guess.
14 kids?
Yeah, and I'm like number 11.
Have you met all of them?
Yeah, I know no, I don't know all of them. It's 2 I've never met, but
okay,
the rest, I know all of the rest, yeah.
Okay, so your dad started dating your mom, and your mom's family had an issue with it. Yeah.
I just found all this out when I was like maybe 5 years ago. I never knew till like 5 years ago, but they had an issue with it. You know what I mean? Then they say he got her hooked on drugs, whatever. But so, you know, when they had me, it was like a reminder like of what they told her not to do. You know what I mean? But I never knew that growing up. I just didn't know why they ain't mess with me like that. I just didn't know. You know what I mean?
Okay, so your mom and dad are growing up with you, and like you just mentioned, your mom started getting hooked on drugs from your dad. Do you know what drug it was?
It was crack.
It was crack.
In the 80s.
Right, because right around that time, that's the crack era.
That's the real crack. That's not the crack they be selling now. That's the crack that when you smoke it, you selling everything, you stealing everything. You not, I mean, because now people can like, they could smoke crack and still go to work and things like that. Back then, but you smoke crack, it's over. Like, that's all you do, period. You know what I mean?
I mean, how old were you when you realized that your parents are doing drugs?
Like about 6 or 7. Yeah. Because I went to the foster home when I was 9. So by the time I went to the foster home, I've been already knew for a couple years. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it was like, I didn't know really what it was. I just knew that it was bad. And that, like, they were selling all this stuff. We don't have no money, no food, stuff like that. So, I mean, I knew, plus, you know, people talked about crack. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I knew it was like a drug and that it was bad. And I knew how it smelled. You know what I mean? So, from the rip, I mean, 6 years old is when it first started, like, ruining my life, you know what I mean?
Well, I have people in my family whose parents were drug addicts, so I know some of these stories, unfortunately. What do you think was the worst thing you experienced during this time?
Man, you gotta remember, in North Philly, even if your parents not on drugs, North Philly is terrible. You know what I mean? It's like, it's terrible, but the neighborhood I was from, it's called Beirut. It's like real bad. It's like, it looks bad. Back then, they used to just sell drugs on the corner by saying, red tops, while the cops riding past and everything, they didn't care. The cops didn't really bother them. But I mean, I seen everything, murders and, I mean, everything. But you know, that's how Philly is anyway. Philly is dangerous, a dangerous place. It's always been a dangerous place, you know what I mean? But growing up, you know what I mean, you seeing your mom, you know, moms selling themselves. You can see them selling themselves, getting in cars, getting out of cars. You know what I mean? So as a kid, you start being numb to it. But, you know, start making it like normal to you, but you still know it's not normal, you know what I mean? So it's a mind fuck, like, for real. You know what I mean?
Well, before foster care, you went to go live with your grandmother, right?
Yeah, and she didn't like me. I never knew why she didn't like me, but you know, I found out later that she didn't like me because I was a reminder of, you know what I mean, my dad messing with my mom, something they told her not to do. Because I had a brother that was already there. My mom had a son before me. He lived there already, so you know he called my grandma his mom. He slept in the bed with her. When I came, she didn't want me there, so I mean, so she wouldn't feed me, I mean, stuff like that. Then she called foster care to come get me. I mean, so like, mind you, she lived in a house with 4 bedrooms, and she lived there by herself. Like, you know what I mean? So it was just like one of them things was, she didn't like me. So I never knew why when I was growing up, but I found out when I was an adult what it was all about. You know what I mean? So.
Well, right. When social services came to take you and your siblings, your grandmother said to leave your brother, to take you and your sisters.
Yeah, yep. And my brother was older than me by like a year and a half. I mean, she's like, no, don't grab him, take them. I mean, so it was like, imagine they came in there and physically snatched you out the house you know what I mean, take you away somewhere and don't tell you where you're going and nothing like that. And as a 9-year-old, you know what I mean, with your 2 little sisters, it's like kind of like, you know, it's real heartbreaking, you know what I mean? Especially when you're there for years. It ain't like you go there and then you're gonna get saved. You're there and then you're gonna be there for, I mean, well, I kept running away, so I kept going to different ones. But, I mean, it's almost like being in jail, but you didn't do a crime yet. You know what I mean?
Well, first, your mom gives you up, then your grandmother gives you up.
Yeah.
So are you just dealing with a lot at this point in terms of abandonment issues?
I tell people all the time, but definitely dealing with abandonment issues, but I think being still happened to me so young is all I knew, kinda. So it wasn't like a thing where I had it good, then it turned bad. It was like, that's really all I knew. I mean, and everywhere I went, I was like popular, like, I mean, juvenile placements at prisons and, you know what I mean? So like, I think it would have been worse if I hadn't knew about a good life and then it turned bad, you know what I mean? But the business that was bad, like, I mean, that's all I knew. It wasn't really, I think it don't affect me as bad as it would if I had a good life and then it turned bad. You know, at 9 years old, 8 years old, 7 years old, you just learning about what life is. You know what I mean? So if it's bad already, you know what I mean, that's all you know. You know what I mean?
Well, I've interviewed a number of people that have been through the foster care system. Some of them said it was actually pretty cool and they had good foster parents. Other ones said that it was a horror show where they had to go to like 20 different foster homes and so forth, and everything in between.
Oh yeah, I went to 3.
Okay, what was your overall experience? Was it okay or was it bad?
Well, let me give a story. So the first foster home I went was with my 2 sisters. I ran away. One of my sisters didn't want to go, so I left both of them there. I said, y'all got to stay together. And the second one I went to, it was this girl there. She had like, what's that, vitiligo, that pink stuff on your face? And she was deaf. So they would leave, she was like 16. They would leave her in charge. I was like 9 years old still. And she used to come in the room. It was a boys' room and a girls' room. She'd come in the boys' room and grab my friend Jose and molest him, right? Yeah, take him out the room, because she was big. He was like 9. He was like the same age as me. Take him, do whatever. And I used to always act like I'm asleep. And I was so scared of her, right? Then they used to make us do yard work. So one day we in the yard doing work. And when she came back, she like pinched my butt. And I turned, you know, what's them things called? You do like the shares, like you, Brutus the Barber Beefcake on wrestling used to have them, remember? Anyway, I turned around and like poked her with them. Not nothing hard to make her bleed or nothing. But she started screaming, he tried to kill me and this, that, and the third. And she told the people on me, and you know, I was young, they asked me what happened, I wouldn't say nothing, because I was scared. I mean, I just didn't say nothing, so they took me to another foster home that was like jail, locked in. Because they looked at it like I was like a bad person. They didn't know what she was doing. I mean, and I didn't say nothing because I was a kid. I was like, so the last foster home I was in was kind of rough. It was like bars, like, I mean, it's like jail basically, but it's just a foster home, I mean. They take you to school on a van and sit in the classroom with you. They actually sit in the classroom with you, I mean. So like, I mean, it was like, it wasn't good for a kid. Plus you already, when you're in a foster home, you're not getting no love, you're not getting no attention. There's a lot of kids, I mean, no one care about you. It's just not good to grow up in a place like that, period. Even if it's you're not getting like no physical or sexual abuse, it's still bad because you by yourself. I mean, you fending for yourself.